Oh, hey, we're live. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me. Oh my gosh, I'm overwhelmed with joy this morning because when I first started doing these, I couldn't, see past 5 episodes, and I thought, what am I going to talk about? Are people going to watch? And now we celebrate episode 50 today. I should get up and do a happy dance. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. So I hope you're enjoying all the episodes. And if this is your first one, make sure you go back and catch all the other 49 episodes. I'm so excited and honored to provide free MLM training because this industry has changed my life. And now I want to pay that forward and bless other people and give everyone just a little slice of some personal development, because I know not everyone has time to read, a book, which might take, 5, 6, 10 hours, but everyone can take, 15, 20, 25 minutes and watch and get the nuggets, right? Get the cliff notes. So I'm so excited. Again, my name is Tara Wilson. I've been in the industry now for almost 10 years. Actually, in 2 months, it'll be 10 years that I joined this crazy industry. And I was at the time working full time with 2 small kids. My daughter was 11 months and my son was 7 when I joined my first company. So you can see that my plate was extremely full. I did not have all the time in the world. I mean, I wasn't just a stay-at-home mom, which is probably one of the hardest jobs out there, and bless all of you. Maybe that's why you want to start this, to get something else to do, right? But I was working full time. Every day was a rat race. You grab the kids, you go to the grocery store, grab some food, go home, dinner time, homework time, bath time, bedtime, collapse on the couch, pay bills, do the same thing over and over again, like Groundhog Day, over and over and over again. And I always wanted more, but there was a couple problems. Number one, I didn't have tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands lying around to start a business, nor did I have any ideas of what I would even start. And so I found this industry through my stepbrother and stepsister, who were very entrepreneurial, and found it. And I'm thankful every day that they did. And it took them about a week to get me convinced to even go to the meeting. And I said, okay, I'll go to the meeting if you would just promise me that if I'm not interested, that you'll leave me alone. They said, of course. And that night, going to the meeting seemed insignificant, but that one decision has changed my life. And now I have teams all around the world. We've built teams of 400,000 people and done $170 million in sales, made millions of dollars. And so there's my gift back to this industry to just give everybody out there a little hope that you can succeed too. So little steps and little lessons that I've learned along the way, and hopes that it will help you take your business and your life to the next level. So today we are going to talk about the one thing. Now, this is exciting because, unlike any other industry in the world, you don't have an opportunity in many other things, unless you're like in car sales or maybe real estate or something. You don't have an opportunity to go and change your income immediately, right? But in network marketing, you have the opportunity to grow your team and start to, sell your product. And, you can take your level of activity up or down based on your schedule, your desire, your goals, as you see fit, right? So when I was working 40 hours a week with 2 small kids, I could manage 2 nights a week, but I did that every week for 15 months. In fact, I said, I'm going to be in 1 to 2 living rooms every week. That was my commitment. And I would keep calling until I found a living room to be in. And I did that so consistently that my 15th month in my very first company in network marketing, I made $35,000. In fact, my first full year, I made $314,000. And I am not saying this like, woo, me, because this was 10 years ago. I'm telling you that to show you what's possible with consistent effort. And if you learn how to do the one thing, that you can have that success too. And so you can change your income almost immediate, which also can change your long-term income in the future, because it's like a ripple effect. Every distributor you put in your team, every customer that comes in, if they're ordering 7, 8 months, 3 years down the road, that's money that you're going to get in the future, right? Having a job is getting money one time. Having a residual income is when you get paid over and over and over for the same activity. So there are some principles and techniques, and I want to explain the difference between principles and techniques. Principles are things that never change. They are permanent. It's like if you have a compass, let's just pretend this is a compass. You know, a compass is always going to point true north, right? A compass is your guide. Well, techniques are temporary. They change. So if you look at the industry, there are some core principles that have stood the test of time from our forefathers of, I believe, the first company was, I believe it was Avon. Believe it or not, I think it's 100 years old or something like that. And then, of course, you have Amway, and you have Mary Kay and Tupperware, some of the legends, and then some of the ones that are about 30, 40 years old. You've got Herbalife and Melaleuca and, you know, a few other the legacy companies, but the techniques will always change. So what I'm not going to teach you right now is techniques. You know, some of you guys may use text, some of you may social media, some of you guys may go trolling on the mall. Some of you may go to door to door. Maybe you put flyers on cars. Maybe you, you know, do whatever, put blogs out there. This is not a technique call. I'm going to teach you principles, right? And because the technique has definitely changed because, you know, 1959 when Van Andel and DeVos, the pioneers and the founders of Amway were hitting the streets in Grand Rapids, Michigan with organic soap, so far ahead of their time, very expensive organic soap. They were going door to door, you know, and they didn't have computers, believe it or not. Oh, they didn't have credit card machines. They didn't have fax machines. They had rotary telephones. Rotary telephones. That's all they had. So they had to use different techniques than today, where you could literally enroll in a business and then send your link to someone else. And I'm in the United States. I can enroll. 2 minutes later, I can send my website to someone in the Netherlands who can enroll, who can send their website to somebody in Australia who can enroll, who can send their website, you know, to someone in Canada, to Mexico, to any of the markets that you're open in, and you could literally have a global business within 5 minutes. A global business. So the techniques are so different today, but their principles, the core principles are the template for success, and they are things that never change, and they're very simple, and I'll try to say them slowly because you're going to write them down. Number one is do the right thing. That's number one. That's the principle. Do the right thing. Number two, do the right things, right? Do the right things. Do the right activities. Number three, do enough of the right things. That's it. Number three, this is the core principle. And number four, do enough of the right things long enough. So I'm going to tell you the one thing that will make the difference in your business. I'm going to tell you the one thing that no matter where you are, if you're stagnant, if your team's stagnant, you have no momentum, no growth, that when I tell you this one thing, you're going to look back and be like, oh, that makes sense. Or if you are in growth and if you are in momentum, you're going to go, oh, that makes sense. And this is the one thing. Number four is do the right things long enough, and that's how you have the compound effect. Remember, I started my story by saying that when I got started in network marketing, I had no experience, but I was doing the one thing. And I was doing that thing consistently, and I was doing it enough, and I was doing it long enough. 15 months. Do you know the first time that I missed being in a living room for the first time in 15 months? You want to know why? Because I was on a week-long cruise that I won through the company. That's the first time I missed a week. So we're talking about, you know, consistency and dedication, doing the one thing, doing it right, the right thing, doing enough of the right thing, and doing the right thing long enough. 15 months. But if you did the one thing long enough to earn a multiple six-figure income, I was able to replace a six-figure income in 8 months, and I have never gone back to work for somebody else. What if that could be your story? Well, I'm here to tell you it can be. It's numbers, right? You always hear about it. With consistent effort, the principles are the same. They're the compass. This is not about techniques. You know, I'm going to tell you the one thing. You decide how you're going to do the one thing. And when you figure out what the one thing is, then you can sit there and figure out, what does your upline tell you? What does your system tell you to do? What are the people that are in your company having success doing? I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm telling you what you need to do. You're going to tell me the how. The techniques are the how. The one thing is the what. And don't you go away, because this is good stuff. So there's the one thing that's the most important. And here's the thing, is it's always overlooked because it's not sexy. It's actually what some people consider so simple that you would be like, no, that can't be the one thing. It appears to be small. It appears to be mundane. It appears to be insignificant. It's very unsexy. What I do when I do the one thing all day, every day, my life in the last 10 years has been more like Groundhog Day than like Saturday Night Fever. Like I say the one thing, when you do it over and over and over again, it's like literally like Groundhog Day. Like there's not much excitement when you're having success in network marketing. You know when I get excited? To go to events. I think that's why I go to events, because it's like, it's different than the one thing. It's the one part of the business where you're doing something different than the one thing that you do every day, but it's the one thing that moves the needle. It's the one thing that drives growth. It's the one thing that creates momentum. It's going to create momentum in your team. It's going to create, first it's going to create movement, then it's going to create growth, and then it's going to create momentum. I want you to think about your business as a boulder, like a really big boulder that's taller than you and bigger than you, and you're standing on flat ground. Let's not give you a hard road where there's a hill that you have to push it up, or a easy road where you can be pushing it down the hill, right? There's no such thing as downhill in network marketing, by the way. More realistically, is the road to success is uphill all the way, and if you stop growing, you're going to fall backwards. So your business isn't a boulder. And you start doing the one thing. And at first you do it, and maybe the first couple times you do it, it doesn't really move. But then you start doing the same thing over and over and over again, and all of a sudden, the boulder moves a little bit. And you're like, oh, it works. It actually works. So you start doing the one thing again, and you get a little bit more momentum. And, the laws of physics or whatever science says, an object in motion will like to stay in motion, right? It's the only thing that stops it is a friction, right? Friction is you stop. I promise you, friction, which is life, which is people who quit, which is the negative, nasty people that are telling all your people to, stop with their dream. The friction is everybody else. It's not in your team. So you got to keep the momentum going so that you roll past everybody, right? They say a rolling stone gathers no moss, right? So then once you keep doing the right thing over and over, the one thing over and over and over again, consistently, you start to get movement. And this is what's called momentum. And then it gets easier. Then you don't have to put as much effort, but you still have to put effort. If you don't, your ball will stop rolling. And honestly, in business, it's not a flat surface. It will roll backwards and it will roll you over. And then you will quit, and then you will complain, and you will say, it's the business, it's not me, it's you. It's the one thing. And if you continue to do the one thing over and over and over again, you will continue to move the needle on your business over time. And to the degree which you get other people doing the one thing, they will be moving, and then it's much easier. Then you're drafting. Then it's like, you're a formation of geese, where if you fly behind other people, it gets easier. The reason they fly in a V formation is because it creates a draft, and it's easier. They don't have to do. The guy in front does most of the work, right? And so that's what it's like on a team effort. And the more people you have doing the one thing, which we're going to get to in a minute, the quicker you can move your business. So the one thing is woven into all the principles number 2, 3, and 4, right? Do the right thing is just be integrity, be integrous. Do the right thing, meaning always be a person of character and integrity. That's the one thing. But the second and third and fourth is do the right things. The one thing, do it enough of it, and do it enough of it long enough. And this is where you're really going to it's going to blow your mind. So this is not about, again, techniques. Once we learn the technique, once we learn one thing, then you can decipher whether the technique for the one thing is texting or social media or blogs or door-to-door or home parties or talking to people in the mall. But every top earner will say that the one thing, if you do the one thing consistently, it's a secret that they've known since the 1900s, the one thing that will move the needle in your business. Are you guys ready? I want a bunch of loves. If you guys are ready to hear the one thing, are you ready? I want some loves. I'm not doing anything till I get some loves. Waiting. Okay, and then my internet goes out for a second. Okay, here's the one thing. Are you ready for this? Tell your company story to at least 15 new people a month. What? That's it? Well, What? Are you kidding me? Tell your company story. Who is your company? What is their product or service? Why do they exist, right? Like I work with a wellness company. We're a science company. We have a flagship product. That's why we exist. And we tell that story over and over and over again. What is your technology? What is your product? What makes you stand out? Why are you in existence? Tell that story to 15 people, not 5, not 10, not 14. The tipping point is 15. Now, if you tell 30, that's when people that, you say, oh, that person came in and they're making a 6-figure income and they barely blinked. They are telling the story. When we came into a new company 15 months ago, the company's been established for 6 years or so before we started. I think the people in the company were tired of telling the story because they've been telling it for so long. You can't get sick of your story. It's going to be boring. You can't get, and everyone kept saying, what are you guys doing? We're blowing through the ranks. Boom, 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 creating story after story after story on stage, every convention. What are you doing? We're telling the story that you all know. And we're just telling it more times than you. We don't have a different story. We don't have a secret story. They didn't build a new comp plan for us. We don't have a secret product. We have the same product. But see, what happens is people get in a rut and they get sick of telling the story because it's mundane, and we live in a world where you can just download, every 2 seconds, you got iPhone 7? Like, iPhone 7? Like, there's been 7. Why? Because technology is changing. Times are changing. Things that didn't exist. Uber didn't exist a few years ago. Computers didn't exist, in my childhood. Think of all the companies that are now here. There's an organic phase. So think of all the companies that are associated with organic and natural. No, they didn't exist a few years ago. Things are ever changing. We live in a microwave society. So people get tired and they stop doing the one thing. The one thing. There's nothing new about this. This is the same principle that has been helping people since Tupperware and Avon and Amway and Mary Kay. They tell the story. The Amway story. I've actually been to Amway headquarters, and when you go in there, and they knew we were from another company, they were so gracious, and they opened up their family to us, and they showed us the Amway story. And I'm sure that Amway people just tell their story consistently. What is your story? If you don't know your company's story, your income story, your story, your company story, your product story, why you're in existence, then you have to figure out, you go to your upline and say, what is our story? What is our story, right? Because all I do is connect people to my company's story all day, every day. And how do I do it? I do it by social media. I do it by sharing a video. I do it by inviting people to my home. I do it by putting people on a 3-way call. I do invite people to webinars and to calls any way I can. See, those are techniques. The techniques I use are all of them. I meet people on the street. I get their information. I follow up. I use Eric Worre's scripts all the time. Hey, if I give you a video, will you watch it? Great. What time will you watch it? What's the best number to follow up? Read GoPro. You can learn incredible techniques. I've got 7, 8, 9, 10 books of techniques. But it doesn't matter how many techniques you learn and how many different things. You could have funnels and blogs and Facebook, and you could have 80,000 followers. But if you're not connecting them to your company story, your product story, and your income story, this is the story, at least 15 times a month, you're going to be stagnant. Now, that's good for maintenance. If you're doing 10 a month, you might maintain. So this is the one thing that will move your needle faster than anything. And now I'm going to ask you the hard question. This is the tough question for you. I want you to take inventory of your business in the last 30 days. So this is a great day to do it because today is January 31st. For those of you who watch in the future, I just want you to look back on the calendar 30 days. I want you to look at your appointment calendar. How many people did you tell the story to, your company story to, in the last 30 days? I promise you, if you have not told that many, you have probably not enrolled people. See, I have a mantra that I will always be doing what I'm expecting and I'm teaching my teams to do, which is why after 9 years and 10 months in the industry, I am still in phase 1. And phase 1 is telling the story to as many people I can personally and through my team. So personally, I use social media, or I have my network, or I do outbound phone calls. Through my team, I do launch calls, I do webinars, I do, 3-way calls. So I'm constantly constantly telling the story to new people. And because of that, I've enrolled 6 people this month without barely even trying. 6 people. I've had 3 new customers join me and 3 new distributors join me this month because I continue to tell the story. So even if I told 15, that's a really good conversion rate. That's like 40% conversion rate. How many people have you told the story to in the last 30 days? Are you standing up in living rooms? Are you getting on calls? Are you sharing your video? What is your tool? Now, we have great tools. Do you know your tool? There's got to be a tool, because you can't be the tool. And if you don't have a tool that shares your company story, you really need to talk to your team or your company to give you a tool, because you cannot be the tool. Because tools will allow you to have duplication. If you're the tool, you have no duplication. Here's why. You tell somebody the whole story, they remember 50%. And the second person remembers 50% of that, which is 25% of your story. The second person remembers 50% of that, which is 12%. And by 5 generations, you have 3% of the actual information. If they're really smart, maybe it's 10. But the bottom line is there's usually a tool. So how many people are you getting in front of the story? How many people inviting? It doesn't matter how smart you are, how successful you've been, how polished you are. Nothing happens in network marketing until you invite somebody to look at the story. So you've got your funnel, right? Your funnel is the top, right? And the funnel starts here and it goes like this. In the funnel is the invite and where they look at the story. So you say you put 100 people in the funnel, right? And then they're looking at your story. Maybe 80 of them say, okay, I'm interested. And then you have 2 funnels. You have the customer funnel and the distributor funnel. I have questions. Great. You stay in the funnel. I'm interested in ordering product. Great. You go out the funnel because you're a customer, but you should still keep the customers in your distributor funnel, because there's nothing more powerful than a customer that has a great results on your product or service to be your best distributor. So the one thing is continuing to put people in that funnel. And the more people you do, if you get 100 in the funnel to look at the story, or 15, you get to sit down and really tell the story, the product or service story, and the company story, you're going to put your team in momentum. And I can tell people, if your team is stagnant, I guarantee you have not showed the company story, your story, in the last 30 days to 15 people. That's not possible. Unless you have a really terrible conversion rate, which would be, I guarantee, even if you were horrible and you can only close 8%, you would have enrolled 1 this month. So when someone comes to me and says, okay, well, I'm great at inviting and I'm putting people through the tools. Now there is obviously skill sets that go along with this. How good are you following up? What's your invitation process like? So create interest, show the story, use the tool, and then you have the follow-up process. After the follow-up, you have sort and close. Are you a customer? Are you a distributor? Or are you somebody that might refer somebody to me? And that's how you keep the funnel going. But if you're not putting people in the front end of the funnel, your business will never grow. If your team is not putting people in the business. So when people are like, my team isn't growing, how many people have you shared the story with this month? In the last day, in the last week? I share the story every chance I get. Every day, my one goal is to share the story with as many people, not 1, not 2, not 3, as many people as I possibly can every single day. Every day. What if you had that mantra every day that you're like, I just have to share the story with as many people as I can every day, and you only shared it with 1 person a day? That would be 30. What would your business look like if you had 30 people looking at your company story, your product story, your income story every single day, and you taught that to other people? Because people do what you do, not do what you say. So if you want a team that's growing, you got to keep going. My team runs with me. I don't sit there and go, keep running, while I sit there and drink my wine and I'm watching my shows and all that. I'm making sacrifices. I'm traveling. I'm on the webinars. I'm on the calls. I'm on Facebook. I'm right in there in their groups. I'm on their 3-way calls. I'm on their launch calls. We're doing webinars all day, every day. Every time someone says, hey, can you do this? Yes. And then I look at my schedule and I always say yes, and then I figure it out later. Be a yes person. There's so many people that want to hide from work. They're like, when they get the opportunity, they're like, oh, well, I just thought, people, if I got in and I signed up people, that they would just sit there and make me money. No. That's not how it works. There is no MLM fairy. You got to do the thing, and then you got to keep doing the thing with the people. And the more you keep doing it, the more your people will. You know, I don't inspire my team because I've made a bunch of money and built big teams. I inspire my team because I'm still doing what we're all doing every day, all day. I'm still doing the thing. I'm still telling the story. I'm still enrolling. I have even contests to see if people can enroll me every month. Sometimes I win, sometimes I lose, sometimes I'm second place. But I'm constantly doing what I'm asking my team to do, because the highest form of influence, don't ever forget this, John Maxwell, the highest form of influence over another person is moral authority, meaning you have walked the walk. Talk is cheap, people. You cannot learn how to do network marketing and then go tell people how to do it. You show them how to do it. You do it with them. And when you do it with them consistently, then they learn how to do it and they go do it with other people. And that, my friends, is how a legacy is built. So, time to take inventory of your team, of your growth. What's going on? Have you told the story? If not, tomorrow is a fresh start, February 1st. You can erase all the bad marks, and tomorrow can be a brand new opportunity for you to go and tell the story. 15 minimum. I challenge you to do 30. 15 people. So that means if you have 5 new people on a call, 5 people on a call, that's 5 people. Can you tell the story to 15 brand new people this month? I challenge all of you. And what I would really like for you guys to do is in the next week, every week, I want you to give me an update. How many people did you tell the story to that have never heard it before? They went to your video, they watched it, or you sat down with them one-on-one, or they want a 3-way call or a lunch call or a webinar or a home meeting or a hotel meeting. How many people did you personally get to see the story, and what were your results? Show me a person that tracks their numbers, and I will show you a top distributor. If you're not tracking your numbers, then you are missing the boat, because if you track your numbers, then you are going to be accountable to you. The best way to see your results is to track your numbers, and here's why. There's 3 different parts of the funnel, and I know this is probably going to be backwards, so I'm gonna all right, so invites, and then show the plan, and then follow up. So in the funnel, you put 100 people. I think that's backwards. I'm sorry. In the funnel, you put 100 people, and they see the plan, right? And then so many come out. If you're putting 100 people in, and you're inviting 100, and let's say 50 watch it, and only 3 come out the bottom, I know, as your mentor or your upline, to work with you, that you're not really either good at following up or you're horrible at closing. Because if you put 50 people in front of a tool or a room or a presentation, you should come out with at least 20 customers and distributors. I mean, maybe heavy on customers, because customers are easier to get in network marketing. And if you invite 100 and you only have 10 watching, then you're really bad at inviting. So we got to work on inviting. So as a mentor, there's 3 things. There's the invitation, there's the showing of the plan, the sharing of the story, and then there's the follow-up and close. And if you can show me your numbers saying, Tara, I talked to 80 people this month and I only signed up 2, then we're going to find out exactly where it broke down. Did they actually watch the information? Did you follow up with them? Oh, I didn't follow up with 60 of them. Well, there you go, right? Then we can work together. But telling the story is the one thing that will put you and your team in momentum. And then having success, having those personal victories, and I know we've trained on this on other episodes, is personal victories. You have to have the inside victories before you have the outside victories, meaning you got to do what you got to do when you know you need to do it when nobody else is looking. And when you have those inside victories, then you'll have success. And then those are the outside victories that everyone can see. And then you start making money, and you start going up in rank, and you start changing lives. And all of a sudden now you can tell that story to other people, and you will create momentum, because everybody wants to join a good story. If you didn't do anything for your first 30 days and made 0, nobody's going to join you. But if you did share the story with 100 people and you made $3,000 your first month, everybody's going to want to join you, because you're going to show them how to do it. And you're going to say, this is what I did. So inside victories, show the story, share the company story, the one thing that will move the needle on your business. And I want to hear about it. So don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/create wealth with Tara, or just go to YouTube and search Tara Wilson Lunch and Learns. And again, thank you for helping me celebrate the big 50. Woo! 50 episodes. More to come because I promised you guys 200 brand new episodes this year. So thank you for being the best part of my day. I love, love, love my Lunch and Learns. And again, email me, message me, text me through Facebook, and let me know what topics you would like to hear. And please go through and make sure I haven't done it first, but I'm always looking for feedback. And thank you guys again. And I will see you on the next Lunch and Learn tomorrow. Woo! Have a great day, everyone. Go tell the story.